Hey guys, how's it going? It's Illy here. So today I wanted to do something a bit different that's more news related because it pertains to an indie game that I was actually looking forward to quite a bit. The developer behind the game Tequila Works tweeted yesterday that they have chosen to reacquire the rights to its adventure game Rime. So it looks like Sony no longer owns the IP, nor will Rime be published by them. The studio then elaborated further in a statement sent out to reporters in which they said, quote, Tequila Works today announces that it has regained the rights to the intellectual property of their open-world adventure game Rime. The studio will continue working on development, however, in order to achieve their aspirations for the game. The reacquisition of the IP apparently involves separating the game from the exclusive project environment of PlayStation, as Sony owned the IP and was the publisher up until yesterday. This most likely means they have gone fully independent and that the game will come out on other platforms. When Game Reactor contacted developers to learn more about their current launch plans or project status, the representatives assured the magazine that they are still moving forward with the project and that they are more eager about it than ever. Rime was first shown all the way back in August 2013 at Gamescom as an open-world third-person adventure puzzle game exclusively for the PS4. After seeing the game for the first time, it reminded me a lot of Team Ico's games, which was what sparked my interest. In the game, you supposedly spend the day exploring an open-world island, hunting for things like food, weapons and tools, and then at night you'll have to defend yourself against the island's monsters with tower defense elements in the mix. You can also use the statues that you can see the boy sitting on in the trailer to help defend you from the hordes of supernatural enemies. And in a very similar way to games like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, the game relies on visual storytelling with no dialogue or narration. We got another trailer a year later at Gamescom in 2014, but we didn't hear anything about the game ever since up until yesterday. I thought for sure that we'd see it in some form at last year's Paris Games Week, given that the developers are based in Spain, but nothing happened. This was quite surprising to me, as the developer tweeted that they had just finished the crunch stage of development back in July, which is something that normally happens towards the end of a game's development cycle. This was why I was expecting to hear from it much sooner, and to see a release date announced at the very least. Now, crunch doesn't always occur at the end, and sometimes happens to meet a certain milestone in the middle of the game's development, so this might be why it's happened earlier than usual. There are two possible reasons why I think Sony decided to let go of the IP. I think the first is that the development team were taking too long to make the game, which meant that it was becoming too expensive to support, as Sony approved the development budget to stick to when they greenlit the game. The second potential reason is that development was simply not going very well. I'm inclined to think that this is the reason why, after reading a rumour posted on NeoGAF by user Walpurgis a few days after Tequila Works finished crunching on the game. Apparently people from Sony had to visit their offices every 2 weeks, and the people testing the game were saying that it was boring. They were complaining about the lack of combat and the fact that all you were doing in the game was going from place to place solving puzzles. There was also a second rumour posted on NeoGAF yesterday, courtesy of user iHer, which had information acquired from a source very close to the studio. Apparently the reveal trailer was all cinematic that just mimicked the targets they had in mind in terms of things like gameplay and assets. It turned out that the studio found it impossible to be able to put what we saw in the reveal trailer in an actual real playable game. Sony then wanted their dev kits to be returned a month ago and cancelled the funding of the game because they weren't happy with the severe lack of progress. The source said that in his opinion, and this is where it gets real juicy, that this happened because of bad studio direction. Apparently the game's director Raul Rubio was fired from developer Mercury Steam before he went on to found Tequila Works, and the employees of the former studio apparently don't have nice things to say about him. They say that he has no idea how to make games or about technology, and that he has all of these crazy ideas that don't make any sense. A lot of the members of the original team that made the studio's first game Deadlight also left, so it sounds like the game overall might be in pretty bad shape. It's important to note that these are just rumours at the end of the day, so they should be taken with a grain of salt. They are nevertheless a very fascinating insight into what might have happened, and they do make a bit of sense given what we know so far. However, the game's director Raul Rubio tweeted later on that everything with the game is going well. When someone tweeted the famous rumour going around on NeoGAF, he tweeted back saying that he has no comment on silliness and bollocks, but that it's true that he does have crazy ideas and that some make zero sense, which was a bit weird. The fact that he didn't outright deny what he read means that there might be some truth to the rumour that was posted on NeoGAF yesterday. Tequila Works' PR manager also said that the lack of news on Rime has not been their fault, which indirectly blames Sony. He denied the rumour that Sony dumped the game because they didn't make much progress over the 3 years that they were making it. But I don't know, given Sony's strong track record for supporting indie games and always giving them a large presence at conventions, it does seem a bit weird to me that they would hold back Rime if there was actually something worthwhile showing. I mean, the game's been in development for 3 years and we haven't seen any gameplay yet, which definitely indicates that something fishy is going on. According to public records, they've taken almost 700,000 euros in public aid for Rime. If they cancelled the game, they would surely have to return the money, so we have to remember that it would be in their best interest to say that everything is fine even if it isn't. Whether the rumours are true or not, the drama going on behind the making of the game has certainly become more interesting than the game itself. Interestingly enough, the project was pitched to Microsoft first as an Xbox One exclusive, except back then it was known as Echoes of Siren instead of Rime. The developer had a history with Microsoft after all, since they developed the game Deadlight exclusively for the Xbox 360. However, Microsoft dismissed it because of the lack of multiplayer and social features, which were an important part of Microsoft's publishing policies for their next console. We have to assume that this was at around the time that they were still planning on releasing an always online DRM heavy console. Although the rumoured state of the game, and that Sony of all publishers dropped it, says to me that it might not be something Microsoft would want to pursue, despite Phil Spencer saying that they regret their decision to say no. It'll be interesting to see which publisher picks it up and how the game will turn out when it's eventually released, seeing as Tequila Works is still committed to making it. Either way, it looks like the game is a lot longer away than we previously thought. From Sony's perspective, I don't think it's too big a loss for them anyway when they have The Last Guardian coming out this year. There's no way it will get delayed into 2017 because I don't think Sony would have reintroduced it after such a long time if they weren't 100% sure that it will be ready this year. If you're interested in The Last Guardian or simply want to know more about it, I recommend you check out my video on it in which I explain why I think it's taken so long to come out. I've linked it down in the description below if you want to check it out. In the meantime, I've been working on another video about indie game Shadow of the Beast, which Sony are also helping out with and publishing. It should be up by tomorrow or Saturday, so please stay tuned for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and be sure to let me know in the comments below how you feel about Rime and what you think about Sony dropping it. I'll see you guys in the next video, which should hopefully be coming very soon, and thank you for watching.